Hey, it's mrkeyzzz, and in this video we're going to discuss how to create chord progressions that have chords with strange lengths. It's definition time! According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, syncopation is a temporary displacement of the regular metrical accent in music, caused typically by stressing the weak beat. Sound confusing? A simpler definition would have been that we're going to place some of the chords off of the beat. Most DAWs have a note grid like this. Here's beat 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are what Merriam-Webster considers strong beats. The weak beats are in between. This grid breaks each beat down into 4 pieces. One is strong, whereas E and are weak. Here's what the rest of the grid looks like for the first bar. In this lesson, we'll be placing some chords on strong beats and some chords on weak beats, specifically the AND subbeat. We'll use Never Be Like You for all of the patterns once again. Pattern 1. Beat 1 and of beat 2. Our chords will be F major, A minor, G major, E minor, and then we'll repeat that again for the next 2 bars. Here's what the length of each chord looks like musically. If you find this confusing, then you can take a look at my Counting Music series up here. On the note grid, it's similar to the pattern we looked at in the previous video, where each chord was 2 beats long. In this case, the second chord of each bar is borrowing half of a beat from the first chord. We would say that the second chord is syncopated because it's played on the weak beat, which really helps push the rhythm forward. Here's what that sounds like. I'm going to play it one more time. There's one thing that I want you to take note of, and that's the fact that I have the kick, or bass drum, hitting when the chord changes. Having other instruments and elements of your beat sync together with the chord change is very important. The syncopation of the chord doesn't have nearly the same punch as when there's synergy between all of the parts. Let's listen. Pattern 2. Beat 1 and of beat 3. Similar to pattern 1, we have the same chord progression, but the second chord's placement is slightly later. Here's what it looks like musically. On the grid, the first chord is borrowing half of a beat from the second chord. Let's listen. Pattern 3. Beat 1 and of beat 4. This pattern is slightly different from the other patterns in the sense that the first chord is 3.5 beats. Every subsequent chord borrows half of a beat from the previous chord, which makes the last chord 4.5 beats long. Let's listen. Additionally, we can mix and match non-syncopated patterns that we saw in the last video with syncopated patterns that we learned about in this video. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. In the next couple of videos, we're going to take a look at how to enhance the main chords of our progression. This is where it gets really interesting, so stay tuned.